Global goals for noble souls, transforming our world to a better wonder to behold. No poverty, zero hunger, for the elderly or younger. Good health and well-being, good education, empowering women to become sensation. Clean water and sanitation, is it not the right of every nation? Economic growth, inclusive and sustained, through industry, innovation and infrastructure be gained. Reduce inequality for sure. Make cities and human settlements safe and secure. Take urgent actions to combat climate change. Conserve, let below water, land, ensure we do not estrange. Justice for all, oh peaceful and empathetic nations. Let us all partner to achieve these goals and provide much needed salvation.
Good morning, good evening, namaste, hola, bonjour, g'day mate, terve and maraban. This is Namya Joshi, your host for the day, and welcome to episode 129 of the podcast, Each One Teach 10, An Amazing World of STEM, an inspiring venture where we'll be discussing that STEM is a part of every day for every kid. Well, today
110.
129. Well,
29, you said.
yes, that's the episode number.
Yeah.
And it's been now almost 6 years to the podcast.
Yeah.
So
Amazing
today,
number.
Kiitos paljon. Well, today's episode is quite special and interesting because we're going to be exploring education not just as a system, but more as a living ecosystem, one that connects students, research, entrepreneurship, industry, and of course, the real human confidence. Well, our guest today has spent nearly 2 decades at JAMK University of Applied Sciences in Jyväskylä, Finland, evolving from a senior lecturer to the head of department in service business, while also working entrepreneurially through Ranger.fi Keski-Suomi. Well, what stood out to me while learning more about his work was this recurring idea. How do we move education beyond classroom into real life in a way that actually transforms people? So today we'll be talking about leadership, curiosity, student engagement, confidence, collaboration, and what does meaningful impact in education really look like. Tervetuloa podcastiin, Niko.
Kiitos.
Mitä kuuluu?
Oikein hyvää. Thank you so much.
Kiitos
It's a pleasure
paljon.
to be here with you, Yoshi.
Kiitos paljon, and it's a pleasure for me as well. Well, you've transitioned from a long career as senior lecturer into leading entire departments. I'm curious, how has your personal definition of impact changed over the years? Because, teaching students directly is one of the kind of influence, but shaping systems and education structures is completely different. So can you let us know about that?
That's an interesting question, how the impact has changed over the years. I think that the most important impact is the impact we made to people. And in a way, it doesn't matter in what level or what kind of a role you work on. I don't see it as a growing in some way. I seeing it being different. So when I was working as a senior lecturer, working with students like you today, I think I made serious impact to society around us because we were learning something new with the students. We were working on with their future, which is the same thing that our future. We are by law doing area development here as a applied science university, and because of that, in a way, if we're talking about products, the student is our main product. They will get their knowledge, they will get their experiences, they combine them, they become new person, perhaps in a way, and they end up being as an entrepreneur, they end up being as hired to some company or public organization, and they will do the impact. So basically, when I had something like 40, 50, 100 students going through my hands yearly, they made serious impact to the society around us, and still doing that. Well, now I'm doing different kind of things, which has different kinds of impacts. So now I think that this is one part of the work as we as an applied science university do. The major thing is the impact through students. Then we are coming into R&D and I, which is 1/3 basically of our operations, and then service sale that I'm working on now. And the impact I'm doing is to make it closer for students and companies and how they can work together in the future, now and in the future. So that's one of my major things. And like I said, the impact is different, but it's not greater, I think. I'm just one man. I can do one-man-sized things in a way.
Yep.
I can steer people. I can motivate people to do things. But still, I don't see that I made more impact now than I did during the days with students.
Well, that's really interesting, and it kind of makes me think about, like, even if one person is spreading the ripples of change, it keeps on going forward. Like the podcast says, each one teach 10.
Yeah.
So you're that one person who is motivating students, and they're able to find their own path in life and doing amazing things. So even that one person of impact that you can create is going to spread ripples of change.
Yeah.
And of course, it's going to inspire more students to venture into fields. So if like they are your product, you're able to nurture them and you're able to help them find their own path in life, where they also then become the impact creators and, you know, help to inspire more people around them. So it starts from a single person and the chain reaction keeps continuing.
And it starts when people are just speaking to each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
That is true. So, like, do you miss the classrooms sometimes when you used to teach
I
students?
still teach.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm still begging my colleague to give me one course that I can work with.
Tosi hyvä. That sounds amazing. Well, you're talking about RDI, and many universities talk about integrating RDI, that is research, development, and innovation, into teaching. But very few seem to do it in a way that, you know, feels deeply embedded into student experience. So according to you, what do you think you and your team approach differently?
Related to integration, the R&D into teaching.
Yes.
Or companies into teaching.
Yeah.
In a way, tricky question. I come into the first question related to, and the answer related to that is that it's usually people talking to people. And when we are talking about applying R&D, applying companies into play, it's usually when you are just talking with people and mostly being quiet. So you just need to listen to them and perhaps ask the correct questions. And of course, you need to know your own home base, how they operate, and what kind of possibilities there are. So when for example, a company comes into the negotiation room, or we have a lunch or whatever, and they are saying that we are having this kind of a problem, I don't usually take here's my watches, what do you want to buy? I ask that, okay, you're having this kind of a problem. What kind of a solution are you searching for? What can we do about it? And then they are starting to discuss about the possible solutions. And then I can say, I have a colleague who might have a course related to that. I have a colleague who can do a service related to that. We are having a project that might help you in your current case. So basically, it's listening to people, listening to their current problems because they are facing them every day in their wherever they are working on or whatever project they are working on. So I think that's the way I have, in a way, succeeded to support the customers or to support the society around us.
Absolutely, and that really also, again, is an important skill, listening.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, I think whenever you're in any field, listening to what other people have to share with you or have problems around is very crucial, so that you can start thinking critically, like how can you help them? Because if you just come and say that, okay, I am doing this is what I have, and then they choose from it, rather than I think it'll be like, okay, you guys come share, and you're listening, and then you start racking your brain. Okay, then yeah, I think this particular aspect of my skill sets is something that can support this person's problem. So yes, I feel that is important, that more than just having great communication skills, listening becomes like one of the most crucial part of it. And that is
And AI
really
can't do
important.
that.
Oh, it certainly
Yeah,
can.
it can listen and it can translate,
Yes.
but they can't invent the problems if they don't see it.
That is true. And also sometimes, like, if you're connecting with them online, that also like AI bots and of course like note takers that really help you to make sure that you have everything available with you in case you miss on information that, you know, the other person shared. But when it's face to face, you don't really have access to these, tools. Exactly. So it's important that you channelize those skill sets in daily lives and don't let these tools overtake that skill set for you, because as a human being, that's what will differentiate you.
Yeah, and you quite easily go into that place where you just end up using tools.
Absolutely.
And not discussing with people.
That is true. That is true. And that also reminds me of something that I found really powerful, the concept cafe and the confidence students developed through it. So that wasn't, just about projects or collaboration. It seemed to reveal something very deeper about confidence and belonging in the society. So what do you think has given students truly the courage to step into the real world and feel like they, really deserve to be there?
Yeah, I think it's a path in the beginning. So, well, you have started your path of exposure, let's call it in this way, early in your life. When I checked your CVs and what have you done in your life, how have you opened yourself into the environment around you? But you are not like you're not very many who do that. When people graduate from high school and they start their first time here or vocational school, and they come to Applied Science University or university to higher education, you take a class. You go into that class, and there might be some exposure to company life or companies around you, society around you, and you may end up working in a project. But you need to start that early. So I believe in a way that experience gives you courage to do things. But you cannot be thrown into a pool of sharks in your very first day. You might get some traumas or whatever because of that. But you need to, in a way, exposure is the word. That every now and then, in every situation, that there is possibility to work with these kind of things that, in a way, grasp you towards this kind of situation. And it gives you courage to move forward, that you start to believe in yourself. I managed this. What can I do next? Or perhaps I don't want to do it again. And then some teacher comes and says that, okay, now you're doing it again. And okay, and doing it again.
Yeah.
and then learn again and build that confidence that I'm okay. I manage. And that's one true thing that everybody needs to, in a way, learn, is that I manage these things. I can do these things, and to trust that. And when you have that trust, then you can do many things.
That is true. And it also gives out the power of affirmations that I have already done it.
Yeah.
Because universe listens to your calls, and the words they cast spell, that's why it's called spelling. So you should believe in that.
Yeah.
That you have the confidence and you already have it. So it keeps on building, because universe will, reflect exactly what you want and what you want to do in life.
Yeah.
So if you're going to say that, no, it's not meant for me, then it's not meant for you.
Yeah.
But if you want it to be meant for yourself and you want to step into that area, then getting exposed to them and believing in yourself is very important. And it doesn't really matter that you start with high things. It can be a small aspect where you venture into and then take those tiny steps and keep on learning more to gain more confidence.
And one thing that is very important, if somebody is asking you to do something, it usually means that that person believes in you. So trust on that. If somebody is saying that, can you please come to my podcast? Then he or she might believe in you that you could be there. And that gives you or me the confidence to go there,
Absolutely.
to do that.
That is true. And also helps you to build confidence and trust within yourself that you have the caliber and the ability to, venture into that particular field, and you have the skill sets required. So if people around you believe in you, learn to believe in yourself as well.
Yeah.
Because that's where it all starts. You may have a great environment, but unless you don't believe in yourself, then people's belief in around you may not be that helpful either.
That's the way it goes.
Absolutely. Well, if I can follow up with this, have students taught you something unexpected over the years that you never really expected to learn?
Students.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting question. Okay, I've been with students nearly 15 years. And of course, there has been many situations that come and go. One thing was when I was steering or guiding a thesis process, and then I learned, because usually, in many cases, the level of motivation is not in 100% in that phase. You have done all your credits and you have done your internship and you're doing the final thesis, and in the last meters you end up saying that, okay, would it go? I'm now done. I just let it go. The one thing I learned, that there are people beyond that. That one person dropped me a thesis proposal that had, I don't remember, 66, 67 pages as a bachelor's thesis, which is, well, we don't calculate, of course, the number of pages, but we calculate the content. And that person said that, I'm not going to drop it. I'm going to quit.
Oh.
And I was amazed that, hey, this is totally acceptable as a master thesis, this level, what you have done. And that person said that, no, it's not in the level that I want it to be. I don't want to publish it on my name. And that was something very interesting thing about humans, that even though we are, of course, we are calculating a lot of masses, that there are certain amount of students passing the degree and getting into their life, and usually you don't end up thinking about one precise thing. But we usually tend not to think too much about the people behind those credits and people behind those theses. But that stopped me years ago, thinking that there are still people who are heavily motivated, has huge amount of need to present themselves in a perfect lights, let's call it in this way. And that stopped me. And okay, that person graduated. I in a way said, now we are leaving it.
Yeah, which is great.
You are perfect.
Yes. And that also shows the ability of human potential.
Yeah.
And of course, the mindset that you always strive for the great and for the ultimate level, where you know what your potential is.
Yes.
And even if, like, you know, people aren't saying like, okay, this is great, you know, you can do
You
even
don't
better.
believe that.
You want to do the best where you feel like, okay, this is where I am satisfied. And of course, I think that is not bad because you get
It's
to
not
learn.
bad at all.
You get to learn so much, and
Yeah.
I think you get to become better. And a human being should strive to be a better version of themselves every day. When they look back, like, did I do something better today? And
Yeah.
if that happens, well, you hit the spot,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're getting to learn and be better.
And yeah, and you again start to believe yourself more.
That's true.
Yeah.
Of
So
course.
that you have achieved what level you have set, not what
Absolutely.
others have set.
That is true, because you are your only competition that exists.
That's so true.
Amazing. Well, now if we move on to the universities and industry sector, what do companies misunderstand about the working with universities? And on the other side, what do universities misunderstand about the industry according to you?
The one thing I end up when I'm discussing with people here is it's a bit of the fear is not the correct word, I think. But in many cases, UAS in a way don't think that we can help companies. Many people here don't think that can we really help. I've been here for as a teacher for 2 decades, and what can I do with the companies? So there is a barrier so that I can't help. I'm just doing these things with my students, and then they're graduating, and they are doing the impact. But I think that's the thing when I was talking with students and getting the experiences. When people are getting experiences, then they learn that, okay, I can do things. We are not behind in many cases. We are far ahead in many cases here in applied science universities and universities. Because we are looking for the future and we are getting content out of them and transform them into like learning outcomes for students to make them be better in the industry. And that's one thing. So some sort of a self-confidence is misunderstood in that sense, that people don't believe that they can work with the companies. I've seen many people working with companies and they're great doing so. But we need to make it possible for them in bigger
That's true.
masses. Other thing is that, okay, we are school, basically. We are school of business. In this case, they are school of engineering, health and social sciences. They are school of something. And usually higher education are in a way divided into degree programs or schools that are up them. And that's one thing that also companies, some of them, sees that, okay, you are a school and you are slow, which doesn't necessarily be the thing. So that kind of an idea of being very strict and have many barriers, not being so flexible, that's something that are misunderstood in many cases. Of course, our curriculum and our annual plan defines what kind of a courses they are running and in which time schedule. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That can be planned beforehand and that can be integrated into the company's working life. But there are other possibilities where we are very much more flexible. And that's not known that well. And I like the current world in that sense that we are having Edu Jyväskylä going on at the moment with we as a Jyväskylä Universities group and then vocational school Gradia.
Yep.
So we are more close into companies trying to, in a way, minimize this kind of a fog around the university or education level cooperation, and try to explain how we operate and what can we really do. So we have a lot of power to do things
Absolutely.
in education level. And we are here for, in a way, forever. So we are not consult houses. We are here next year and even in 10 years, I think. So
Certainly.
that's our greatest asset or superpower, that we have long-term possibilities to cooperate.
That is true.
Yeah. And of course, the companies are in many cases, of course, there's a long play and short play. But that we usually tend to do wrong as universities or people from universities is that we tend to think too far in too many cases. The most easiest ones are the ones that we should start on. It might be a thesis, it might be an internship, it might be some sort of a course integration, it might be a small service that we do. And then we move forward with that. I'm going to put my
Don't worry.
my phone off so it doesn't
yeah.
ring.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But yes, that is quite interesting, and that makes me also think about like how these partnerships between universities and the industry really is beneficial for us as students, because like there might exist sometimes barriers that universities, might feel that the industry is a little too fast-paced for them, or the industry might think universities are a little
Too
slow
slow.
for them. But I think at the end, they kind of connect with students,
Yeah.
because students are learning at universities and they have to make a career in the industry.
Yeah.
So if they're partnering together, they're helping students to get that confidence and the opportunities by maybe traineeship programs,
Yeah.
or getting like Talent Boost organizes so many
Yeah, that's one.
networking opportunities with universities, and a lot of, I think, partnered with the Digi Centers, as well as get to know companies and networking events here. So I feel universities and the industry are always connected with education welfare for students, and of course making sure they have that confidence and opportunities to grow, gain skill sets, and have a good, of course, resume as well when they get into that industry where they have to apply for jobs.
Yeah, that's so true. And one thing I want to, in a way, say to all students, not only to our students, but all students in the world, is that whenever you have possibility to work with companies in any way, do that. Don't push it tomorrow or next week or next month or some other artificial date that you will work on it. Do it every time you have a possibility.
Yes, do it now.
Do it now.
Yes, nyt.
That's the way it is.
Absolutely. Well, after nearly 2 decades at JAMK, University of Applied Sciences, what still keeps you curious?
Professional way. Well, I've been working this spring with one big company in Jyväskylä area in Middle Finland. And I have been, in a way, let's say it this way, I've been blessed to work with them. I have learned, again, so much with them. So what keeps me curious is tomorrow. That I'm optimistic by heart. I'm just waiting for tomorrow. What happens tomorrow? Because today was so great. So I'm always, in a way, working towards the future and what possibilities it brings to me. I don't mean any money-wise things, but in a way, new experiences that I can have here at JAMK University of Applied Sciences. So I'm very happy to be here because I have had a 20 year. That's long. 2 decades. Oh my God. It's a long path. But I think that I've seen so many things during those 2 decades. And I think I still have so many things unseen yet to come in the future. So that keeps me running and that keeps me curious. So what has life still reserved for me?
That is so inspirational, and it kind of is what makes you human, because you can never have that point where you feel like I have learned everything in
Yeah.
life, because life brings new experiences every day,
That's so
and you
true.
get to learn, and you're a different version of yourself every single day.
Yeah.
So I think that is so good to hear, that curiosity, and what is in store for you in the future is what makes you still feel that curiosity inside you,
Yeah.
and that sense of learning every single day. So here's a fun question. If you could redesign any aspect of the higher education from scratch, what would you change first?
What I change first? That's a tricky question. As an applied science university, as you know, we are the area developers by law. And what it means, again, it means that we are developing our students. We are making them better every day here. I would change, and I started already with what degree program is that how do we integrate companies more closely into our curriculum development? How do we integrate them more closely into students' everyday work, everyday life? So that's what I would change for the future, because we need companies much more in the future than we, in a way, need them today. And that's for sure. And this area needs the cooperation more to be more deeper than it is now. And also the digitality has changed our way of working so much that there are, let's say, the barrier between the working life and the student life is higher
Absolutely.
today than it was years ago, even though we have all the digital tools and so on. But behind digitality, it's quite easy to position yourself in a way out of this world that is after you graduate.
Yes.
We should think in a way that in the first day when you step into our school or whatever school you're going through, that world should be there already.
That's true.
And that's what I would
learning
like to change.
as a person who is already in the industry, not just in the education where you're learning as a student, but learning to become ready for the workforce. And that demands...
Or doing your own company.
Absolutely, why not?
Yeah.
And that also demands a lot of future skill sets that need to be integrated now when you're learning. And I think it also is for students to take initiatives themselves. It should not always be that they're given all the things on their own. They have to be the ones who pave their own path and start looking for opportunities themselves. So going at the forefront. And of course, there is no harm in, taking opportunities with companies, working with them. If there is not opportunities available by universities, go and be the person who does it for your own self.
Take those opportunities.
Absolutely. I had this really interesting analogy I read somewhere that opportunities knock very softly at your door. You just have to listen carefully, keep your ear at the door, and then as soon as you can hear it knock, grab it, and it's yours.
And move forward.
Absolutely.
And don't say no.
Yes.
To opportunities.
Vain jo.
Vain jo.
A.
That's the way it goes.
Absolutely. Well, this conversation really reminded me that education is not just, about knowledge transfer, but it's about the confidence, the opportunities, relationships, and creating the environment where people feel capable that, yes, I can shape the future.
Yeah.
I can shape myself to be ready for the future.
I can do it.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Niko, for joining us today for this episode and for sharing your insights and experiences.
Thank you, Jussi. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for joining and listening to this episode. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, each one teach them. Moikka!
Hello!